Imagine this, January 30th, 2026. The US Department of Justice drops the Jeffrey Epstein files and boom, the internet, the world just explodes. Today, we're diving into one specific analysis of these files, and trust me, the claims are wild. So let's get right into it, starting with the moment the story broke.
You've got all the ingredients for a Hollywood thriller, right? A super powerful guy, a secret island, and a guest list of the world's elite. But the big question our source tries to tackle is, what was really going on here? Was this just about one sick, twisted man, or was it something bigger, something much more organized and, frankly, way more terrifying?
All right, first things first, let's talk about the release of these files and how we even got to this point. According to our source, this wasn't just some document release. No, this was a global earthquake.
We're talking about more than 3 million pages of documents. Can you even picture that? It's just a mountain of data that sent shockwaves everywhere. Social media, the news, you name it. And right at the very center of it all was one man, Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so the timeline laid out by our source paints a pretty clear and pretty dark picture. It all kicks off in 2019 with Epstein's arrest, right? And the raids on his homes turn up all this secretly recorded material. Then you have the victims, these incredibly brave women who start speaking out, and the public pressure just builds and builds. But then, it all takes a very sinister turn. Epstein is found dead in his cell. Officially, it's a suicide, but our source heavily implies he was silenced. But you can't silence the truth, right? The demand for answers just kept growing, leading to that huge file dump in 2026.
So, that brings us to the core argument from our source. This whole insane operation, it wasn't just about money or, depraved kicks. It was about something much, much more valuable in the shadows of global power. We're talking about leverage.
Leverage. I mean, think about it. It's the ultimate trump card for spy agencies. It's how you get powerful people to do exactly what you want, even when it's against their own will. And according to this analysis, Epstein wasn't just dabbling in this, he was practically running a leverage factory.
And here's where it gets really explosive. The source flat out alleges that Epstein was working for Mossad, the Israeli intelligence agency. The whole thing, the island, the private jet, the parties, it was all supposedly a front. A honey trap operation designed for one single purpose, to get the world's most powerful people on a leash.
So what was the playbook? How did he do it? Well, the source lays out this really chilling 4-step method. Step 1, lure the target. Get an influential person to his private island. Step 2, compromise them. This is where the underage girls come in. Step 3, record everything. Hidden cameras everywhere, catching it all on tape. And the final brutal step, blackmail. Use those recordings to control them. That's how you get your leverage.
And now we get to the names. Because according to our source, this wasn't just about nameless politicians or businessmen. The files are supposedly a who's who of the global elite, and the allegations, well, they are stomach-turning.
Let's start with Bill Gates, founder of Microsoft. The source points to an email from 2013, one Epstein allegedly sent to himself as a note. In it, he claims he set Gates up with 2 Russian women, and that Gates ended up contracting an STD from the encounter. It supposedly gets worse. The email claims Gates then asked Epstein for medicine so he could secretly give it to his wife. And there's your leverage. The source claims this was used to blackmail Gates into donating a cool $7 million to an MIT project.
Okay, next up, Elon Musk. Now, Musk has gone on record, very publicly, denying he ever went to Epstein's island. But, and this is a huge but, our source claims the email records tell a different story, allegedly showing him flying to the island on Epstein's helicopter back in 2012. And there's more. A victim complaint, though the name is blacked out, supposedly places Musk at a party where girls as young as 13 were being assaulted.
The allegations against former U.S. President Donald Trump are, well, they're incredibly direct and graphic. I'm going to read this directly from what the source presents as a victim's testimony from the files. It says, quote, "Donald Trump was involved in an act so vile it is inappropriate to describe in words. He was sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl." The source goes on to claim there are dozens of complaints like this, but they were just never investigated.
And then you have Prince Andrew of the British royal family. I mean, we've all seen those infamous photos of him with Virginia Giuffre, who accused him of rape before she died under what the source calls mysterious circumstances. But the files allegedly go even deeper. There's a claim from an anonymous complaint that the prince actually bought a girl as a slave from Ghislaine Maxwell,
a girl who later died from the abuse she suffered.
So just to recap the major claims here from our source, we're not talking about small things. We're talking about specific, damning allegations of blackmail, of being present during assaults, of direct sexual assault, and even causing someone's death. And these are leveled against some of the biggest names in tech, politics, and royalty.
So, you hear this long list of powerful people who were supposedly compromised, but here's a really surprising twist from the source. It claims there was one person, just one, that Epstein actually seemed to fear. And you might be surprised where he was from. Pakistan.
Yeah, check this out. The source highlights emails where Epstein allegedly calls the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, a mad Islamist and a bigger threat to world peace than the leaders of China or Iran. Now, you might think that's a huge insult, right? But the source, they spin it completely differently. They call it a badge of honor. Their logic is, hey, if a devil like Epstein is afraid of you, you must be doing something right.
All right, hang on, because this is where the analysis goes from a political conspiracy thriller into something out of a horror movie. Seriously, the claims get much, much darker from here.
So while the FBI was investigating, they apparently got these anonymous phone calls. And the things these callers claimed were just beyond belief. They said Epstein and his circle weren't just abusing kids, they were sacrificing them. They made claims about demonic rituals and even cannibalism, saying they would eat the limbs of children like savages. The source is very clear that because these were anonymous tips, the FBI never followed up on them, but they're presented as part of the story.
So, what's the big picture here? What's the ultimate point the source is trying to make? It's this. The whole Epstein scandal, with all its depravity, has one major geopolitical consequence. It completely demolishes any idea of Western moral superiority. The argument is that it exposes a deep, dark hypocrisy at the very top of the global power structure.
And to sort of wrap this whole moment in history up, the source uses this really stark quote: "The old world is dying and the new world is being born. Now is the time for monsters." The idea is that we're living through this chaotic transition, and it's in these moments that monsters like Jeffrey Epstein can rise and do their worst.
So what are we left with? A brand new world order being exposed, or just a massive, sprawling conspiracy theory? The source we've been looking at has definitely presented its case, and it is a wild one. What you decide to believe, well, that's up to you.